Charlie, fresh good morning. The over here was on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Hey, after everything that was said in the Club World Cup final, and then of course also the Champions League final last season, where now a lot of Barcelona fans say, Charlie, if they get Paris Saint-Germain on the shop, or more Paris Saint-Germain on any day, it's more Paris Saint-Germain, no money Paris Saint-Germain. It did not happen. It did not happen. And it didn't happen not because Barca won in Yardie or all of a sudden it's not a good team. But football is somewhere. Hi, Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. So unsubscribe to the channel now. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notification. In the notification, turn it. Choose all. Just so anytime there is content now, we are first to have it on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Every day, we have the bet coast no tournament. 9 odds, almost 10 odds, and a booming every day we win. On Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. If you are an investor and you are not winning, you've not joined us on the winning team there, then I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. I said, if you are not winning, then it's up to you, because over here we are constantly winning. On Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Of course, any editing common send about BBI, come on. Let me say a big thank you to my brother Yesumo Spare Parts Glass Shop. Say spare parts and quantity, especially for car spare parts, and the best place here Yesumo all over the country. Yesumo was your best plug. He'll take very good care of you. Of course, say entirely, and I'll pay and it's MOB clothing. But then first of Yesumo number or Accra, Obuso kind post office. Just call him on 059 313 8221. 059 313 8221. Show for Yesumo to let him take very good care of you. Of course, say entirely and I'll pay a clothes, a apparel. You want to look good, you look clean and dapper. Now on Tadi be episode told you, then the best place for you MOB clothing. MOB clothing. Just go to MOB clothing. Contact them right now. For Tadi be out. Say where you will top, pay your shorts, whatever attire you want to wear. Just make sure. Say we'll be contacting MOB clothing. They'll get a job done for you. For Gerard and Mami 0200 608 668 708 0200 668 708 from CCR. They take very, very good care of you. And BBI come, of course. Last night, big Champions League games. Match day 2, obviously. Paris Saint-Germain, Barcelona was the biggest game, but the Man City went away to go and play against Monaco. They dropped points in there. There was also the big one between Villarreal versus Juventus. It was a 2-2 draw. Now, the Champions League table looks to be arranging after match day 2, and so a pre-match discussion of match day 1. One of the things I didn't mention at the time is that starting over year, you realize that the table will begin to arrange, it will begin to position itself, and those who are doing their things well will begin to get things right. But if you don't do your things well, they are going to be in trouble, and that's exactly what this match day or Champions League in Dubai. There are some teams are more perfect record. Teams beat to Real Madrid, teams beat to Qarabag, surprisingly, teams beat to Paris Saint-Germain. All of these teams have a perfect record of Champions League in the stands now. Some of them, 2 games, no wins, but the likes of Galatasaray did come back. Barcelona also won in the first game, but then they lost in the second one. Man City won in the first one, but of course in the second one, they are also nowhere to be found. So it's making the conversation of the Champions League a little bit interesting for all the parties that are involved in the Champions League conversation. Of course, and now when there was the big game that was going to go on, Barcelona versus Paris Saint-Germain, the big question was about, will Barcelona be able to dominate Paris Saint-Germain? Would they be able to go into the game knowing that Omo Football Club Barcelona Omo good enough? And Obeka last season, just before say a ball what Champions League final, no, Juan Laporta was always saying that he feels like Barcelona should be able to play Paris Saint-Germain. He feels like his team is better than Paris Saint-Germain in a grand scheme of things when it comes to playing against them. I mean, we're only going to know. A lot of Barcelona fans also did say, so when it comes to the Champions League, but for Inter, they would have had a better chance to play team friend in Paris Saint-Germain. So they wanted to go and play in Paris Saint-Germain. Obviously, UEFA, after bringing out the list of teams near ball games this animal, they gave us that very, very good game for us to go and see. Say, okay, Pampa, Barca beat team about Paris Saint-Germain now. Barca ain't team Paris Saint-Germain, but if a game we be see and all of those things. But let's start from Manchester City that went away from home to go and draw 2-2 against Monaco. I always felt that game was going to be tricky for Manchester City. And in all of those bet codes that we arranged, it was a little bit careful for Manchester City when they are going away to go and play against Monaco, because the Monaco team is a budding team that has a lot of talents. They went away from home to Brugge or Belgium, and then they lost to Team Friend Club Brugge on the match day 1. So they knew that in match day 2, a big team like Manchester City coming. If you don't get a result from Manchester City, you don't get anything from Manchester City, then you put yourself in a very, very precarious situation. It is different when you don't win match day 1, but then say if you don't win match day 1 and match day 2, then of course you are spelling nearly doom for yourself. So that is very, very important, and they wanted to get something out of it. Although Man City led, they came back to get a equalizer, and Brandt and Eric Dyer made it 2-2 at the death for team your friend Monaco at home. So of course they've gotten on 1 point. In that regard, Villarreal, F-chain Juventus, and something very interesting happening in that game. So somewhere last season, Brandt, your friend Renato Vega was a Chelsea player. He was on loan from Chelsea to Juventus, and Oshego Biana or Kisi Juventus badge, and almost every time it was as if for him, it's just about Juventus and nothing else. And this summer, Chelsea wanted to let Renato Vega go. So in letting Renato Vega go, they were looking for suitable options, for suitable buyers on better Brentford friend Renato Vega. Juventus obviously could not make the financial commitment for Brentford friend Renato Vega. And then team of your friend Villarreal did come in. Now Villarreal for the bear Brentford friend Renato Vega, they were able to get him. And now Renato Vega scored the second goal for Villarreal and made it 2-2 for them. Now, do you know the funny thing that happened? He went to the Juve fans who were taunting, catch on the 2006 relegation at Cloud the Corridor. They deserved to go on that relegation, and they kissed the Villarreal badge. Oh, very interesting. The match ended 2-2. So what it means is that in the first game against Juventus, they didn't get maximum points against Dortmund. This one I saw. They've not gotten the maximum points in there, but it was a big one also. Or the Signal Iduna, where Dortmund stayed at home to play against Atletico Bilbao. In Europe, Bilbao are not doing very well. It looks as if the Champions League level, it was sort of changing. Nico Williams, and the Bilbao team, they are just not on that level, because away at the Signal Iduna, it was total drab from Dortmund. Slapping Athletic Club left, right, center, letting them understand, say, it's different when you are the big boy in Basque. But when you come and play in Europe, you meet a lot of different big boys who are good on their own level and who can play the game and play very, very well. So, that's exactly what happened in the game. Dortmund stayed at home to play against Team Athletic Club de Bilbao. They got a job done. It was such a very, very good game. So good as Simon. They firmed it up. And it looks as if Niko Kovac is getting the best out of this Dortmund side. In recent times, success is coming in terms of how they play, style of play, almost setups. Everything that they are doing looks to be going the right direction for them. They are playing the right way. They're winning the ball back. Very compact at the back as well. And Niko Kovac in the league, and of course, in the Champions League in Europe as well, seems to be getting the team to get the results that they have always looked for, the results that they didn't get under Eden Terzic. It's important for them to go on and see if they'll be able to get the results subsequently, and also make it even better for them. We'll see how things are going to go. Newcastle went away to go and play against Pafus, right? The Cyprus champions, and they got a job done. Almost bomb. Pafus for a very good team. But then there was no way they were going to be able to stand team your friend Newcastle United. They got the job done easily. Of course, Copenhagen, what's the name? Qarabag started the match day 2, no second day, very, very early. But then, of course, it was Copenhagen that couldn't win the game. Our team, your friend Qarabag, made it 2-0. And that means that Qarabag have won almost first 2 games of Champions League. I don't know the record behind it, but I'm very certain that it's going to be a record of probably the first team from their country to win 2 games in a row in the first round of the Champions League. Something that is very, very interesting and intriguing to talk about for team your friend Qarabag, of course. But a big one was big Barcelona game versus Paris Saint-Germain. See, going into that match, one of the things that I kept on saying was that I was particularly worried about the Barcelona center defensive pair. I think that Hansi Flick had a lot of focus on technicality and the technicians in the team. And that is why he played two center backs that are probably the best ball playing center backs. Yes, Pau Kubasi is also very physical sometimes and helps with the physicality. Again, Eric Garcia is also very physical sometimes and understands the physicality of the game. But in games where you play and then your technical levels are not above that of your opponent, or at least it's close, no? One of the things that's important, that's when physicality is very important. When you look at even the Newcastle game where Barcelona went to play against Newcastle, Barca had the technical ability, but they added a lot more also physicality to match Newcastle's intensity. It was very important because sometimes we talk about physicality and it's just about duel winning, combativeness, but physicality helps you manage the intensity of the game. Physicality helps you firm up or passes when you have to. And that is something that Football Club Barcelona they didn't have, especially in the second half and round against Paris Saint-Germain. And see, to be very honest with you, Paris Saint-Germain went into this game without the regular big names that we know. I mean, they went into the game without Desiree Doué. They went into it without Ousmane Dembele. They went into it without Vicha Kvaratskhelia. They went into it without João Neves. Of course, for Barcelona as well, the absence of Rafinha was very, very important for them. And of course, the fact that Lamine Yamal just returned from an injury was also very important for them. But for me, the game came down to the choices of Hansi Flick. First one, I think that Hansi Flick should not have made Pedri play the game against Real Sociedad 90 minutes. I think that he should have taken Pedri out. And for him to take Pedri out in the second half, late in the second half, tells you Pedri was gassed out. To want to bring on Casado or one of those young boys to come and firm it up for him in the middle of the park tells everybody that Pedri, no one break. And in a game where you've had Paris Saint-Germain, I think somewhere around the Ballon d'Or area, they didn't play most of their players. The last 2 or 3 games like that, they also didn't play most of their players, most of their senior players. Now, of course, we had issues of injuries and whatnot. And I think they are fresher. And coming to play against a Pedri that played every minute, going on to go and play against Newcastle United and stuff like that. So the freshness of the team for me in the second half, they tell. And that made a huge difference. I mean, you can choose to overlook it for like care, but then that made a very, very huge difference between the two clubs. I mean, play your football, impose yourself in the game. But then again, the physicality is very important. What are the physical levels of Football Club Barcelona? See, this is the reason why most of the times I'm a catch football fan say, never ever look at one match and say, Nipa no winning, Onyade was just lucky. No, it wasn't just lucky. When Chelsea went to the Club World Cup and battered Paris Saint-Germain, it wasn't luck. It wasn't just about luck. It was a team that knew what to do against the Paris Saint-Germain side. What Hansi Flick wanted to do on the night was that on a style or Menuti, Luis Enrique. After the game, he did mention it. Luis Enrique saying there are two teams with two distinct styles. I mean, Obia on a style. Obia is very clear in his ideas and in the plans. On style, you say no, which makes a lot of sense, right? But then in all of those styles that Barcelona have, in the styles that Paris Saint-Germain have, both teams are quite crucial. All of them wanted to impose their style on each other. We person bono kita or pass or create chance or create separation or stretch pitch or midfield dominance. But I mean, like I said, that game was a game of two halves. In the first half, where Pedri bossed that midfield and showed everybody why he's Pedri Gonzalez. But in the second half, you could tell he was out of gas. And that is where Vitinha also stepped up and then showed everybody he's a master. If it's about controlling the game as a tempo controller, number 6, you pull the strings, then pass the ball, and 10, and receive you on the half 10, and monkey, and even yes, getting that helps the team there. Then I can also do same. So then let's get a job done. And when he decided to dance, everybody saw the quality of a brand friend of Vitinha. Then for me, one of the biggest things that Paris Saint-Germain have done that was telling last night was the recruitment of players for the team. I mean, one of the things I did mention was that Marquinhos is aging. Paris Saint-Germain will have to face him out. Gianluigi Donnarumma is not the best goalkeeper in the world. It's just a matter of time. People will come and then they'll find out what it is, El Honum. So people will also find that out, El Honum, right? Okay. So one of the two things that he did, first one, is bringing in a Abrante's friend Elias Abani as backup for Abrante's friend Marquinhos, knowing that one day Marquinhos is not going to be there. Marquinhos is not going to be the guy. Marquinhos is going to be aged. And in this game, Achraf Hakimi was confident to step up and create and pull strings in the game because he always knew, say, the Ukrainian was behind him and he was ready to constantly mop up for him, defend wide areas, be aggressive, step up for him. Like he knew that Elias Abani was there. Now, I mean, William Pacho was William Pacho. Last season, at the beginning of the league phase, a lot of people with Sir Richard will say, oh, Elias William Pacho. And I keep on saying that he is not a flamboyant, nice passer of the ball. But then William Pacho is a decent centre back and he deserves more respect. And right, he showed it again on him. But the ultimate decision to face a Gianluigi Donnarumma and then bring in a certain Lucas Chevalier yesterday was at point one of being proven to everybody. Lucas Chevalier encompasses everything. I remember when Paris Saint-Germain and Tottenham Kokobo first game against Tottenham Hotspur in the Super Cup, and then Chevalier conceded a goal. Everybody was talking about Chevalier. When he ended up saving a penalty to win the game, nobody said anything. But he was the hero of the night, saved the penalty. That is very, very important for him. But on the game against Barcelona, when you need your goalkeeper to be comfortable to pass the ball, when you need your goalkeeper to be comfortable under whatever pressure, on the night, it is Paris Saint-Germain that had an extra thing in their goalpost, not Barcelona. Because Juan Garcia was unavailable and it was Tech. Tech is probably not the best ball-playing goalkeeper in the world. He's not the goalkeeper, but mouse ball-playing ability, the nice things that we constantly see when you are describing the modern gay goalkeeper. He doesn't give you that. But then the Frenchman, Lucas Chevalier, was the guy that got the job done for Paris Saint-Germain for them. And they pulled the string nicely. They played their football. They showed everybody why they're a good team. Again, Nuno Mendes versus Lamine Yamal was another big talking point before the game. I think that Lamine Yamal probably has to stay away from the talk on social media before big games like this because, boy, the thing with Nuno Mendes is that he is as physical as Kukurea, but then he's even better technically. As in, like, Nuno Mendes' ball carrying, like in football in Fiat and step. There was a time where Oje ball and Lamine Yamal close, and he used one of Lamine Yamal's trademarks to evade Lamine Yamal, the shoulder drop. Once he received the ball, Lamine Yamal had accosted him. He just dropped the shoulder to the right, and there he goes to the left. And that is a trademark of a player with top-level technical ability. It is such a technical ability that only a few players do have, especially when he plays at left back. And that's what he showed. And those two fullbacks of Paris Saint-Germain are weapons, like my colleague Machuta Maklo described, weapons of mass distraction. I mean, look at what Achraf Hakimi will do on the right, and look at what Abrante's friend Nuno Mendes is doing on the left, dropping shoulder, getting off you, and there he goes. Drop shoulder, get off you, and there he goes. And that is pure quality, stepping into midfield where there were a lot of bodies and evading players until Abrantes, your friend Frankie de Jong, brought him in. Another thing, see, when people talk about Nuno Mendes, they forget that in everything that he does, he also does the basics. For the Portuguese national team, I've seen him do those things several times where it's always about the basics. It's always about the basics. Yeah, basic. And there was one thing that he did yesterday that was very important about doing the basics, which is the usage of the winger. And I think it was one of those young players, I've forgotten the name, the Mayulu goal. He used the winger. Winger never has to born. You see winger no. You see winger in the sense that he just played a simple pass to the winger. And then the winger uses fullback. What did he do? He also lead a simple wall pass to Abrante's friend Nuno Mendes. And then Mendes carried the ball through. And that was when he set up the goal for Abrante's friend Mayulu. And you watch that goal, and then one of the downsides of Abrante's friend Paul Kuba. So I remember I've said several times to Albert, say, when it comes to the ball playing ability for the players that are there, say, okay, you're more born. Kobasi is excellent. but sometimes he's a little bit overzealous. A little bit, maybe for his age, normal. A little bit overzealous in games like this. And he committed way too early to a ground tackle. And of course, in Mayulu, a creative pulse and the ball fell to him. And he slotted home. For me, that is one of the best things that you can get from a game when it comes to the management of the game, from Luis Enrique, what Luis Enrique added to the team, how he wanted to play the game, understanding where Barcelona were, and Fiifi-Manfred. Fabian Ruiz will not get the plaudits that he deserves. He will not get the mention that he deserves. But then that is a pure class football, and he made things happen for the likes of Vitinha and Fiifi-Manfred, of course, for João Neves as well. I mean, quality by our standard. They say you're international boy, you're born in control game, no order. He's one of the best that you can get. And I mean, if you go through all over social media, Chelsea for are excited because Barca for kept on telling everybody, so I'm check Paris Saint-Germain, be sure na play Paris Saint-Germain team at Chelsea Asheno, into Chelsea Ashe Paris Saint-Germain, they almost on Besheno. But when you look at that Barcelona side, people are licking their lips. Of course, Barca for are starting to see that Chelsea will pay for it. Chelsea will pay for everything that Paris Saint-Germain did to them last night. Born a Paris Saint-Germain, baby boy, you know. Chelsea for be tiaka, Chelsea for even show me. And that is why I keep on asking myself, Chelsea and Madrid, they're born no. If you say Chelsea will pay for what Paris Saint-Germain have done, if you say that Chelsea will make sure that Chelsea for them, it will tear everything up. Then the question is that what have they done? Because Barcelona will play against Madrid, and I think 2 or 1 week later they play against Chelsea or Champions League. However that game is going to pan out, it's going to be very important. Even from the point of view of where Chelsea will stand against this Barcelona side, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a really, really tough game for Chelsea because Barca will come into it with a lot of arrogance, a lot of confidence. They believe that, I mean, it's just Chelsea. And yeah, club will be a bit at home. And I think a lot of people actually believe that Chelsea winning the Club World Cup was just a one-off thing. And BBA and it doesn't make them a good team, sir. And of course, they will be able to punish Chelsea. So the onus now is on Enzo Maresca and Mantiano to let them understand that, see, winning the Club World Cup, what the people are saying is true. It's just a one-off thing. So why you check consistently? That's the way you consistent set of performance. That's the way you quality in terms of how you play, and when you're dominant in the things that you do there, then you are going to struggle. Then you are going to be in such a difficult place to be, because if you don't show yourself in terms of performances, how well you play, with strength in the things that how you play your matches, your dominance on the ball, your dominance off the ball. If you are not more aggressive against a certain a certain Barcelona team there, then you're going to be in trouble. And people constantly question Enzo Maresca and Mantiano, unless they have gotten to the point where they have shown that they are a reliable side and they can keep on winning better. And for me, I think that starts with the game that they will play against Liverpool this weekend. Can Chelsea build on the performance against Benfica now? After what they did against Benfica, can they build on it? Can they let everybody know, say, we can play better, we can be consistent, kakra? Because everybody is saying that, oh, Chelsea, they all Stamford Bridge could be the red card. Of course, there's a possibility of Chelsea obeting the red card. But then, would they allow themselves to be, constant red card conversation? And I say, okay, they be at Chelsea, be the red card, and that's it. And what do they want for themselves? I think it's time for them to really step up and then show everybody, say, their quality, and they can go on and play in matches. Of course, we'll see how those games are going to pan out. Very interesting, but then Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid, they were victors in that big one. Hi, Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing me. I'll see you. Bye-bye.